Now, Psycho is the same as the 50th Anniversary Collector's Edition, which was a excellent transfer. You know, a little bit too much debris not taken care of in a lot of scratches and flecks that I think could have been really looked at, but it still has excellent contrast. The black and white films like that have been transferred well just look stunning, and Psycho is one of those. Vertigo here is one of his most critically acclaimed film, not when it first came out, but years later in retrospect. When it came out, it bombed and no one liked it. I'm not sure why the critical test has changed. I don't think it's anywhere near Hitchcock's top film. Certainly not one of his worst, but the character motivations in the film are ridiculous. The dialogue is terrible, but it is stunning to look at, and they've done a really good job of the transfer. And they had a lot of great colours to work with in the first place, but they are just glowing. It has extra special features for this high-def presentation. Obsessed with Vertigo, New Life for Hitchcock's Masterpiece, and Partners in Crime, Hitchcock Collaborators. I think the many fans of Vertigo, whether they really like the film or just jumping on the bandwagon, will be impressed with the way that has turned out. Okay, here we have The Birds from 1963 and Marnie from 1964. The Birds, one of my favourite Hitchcock films, his one real monster movie, has never been released here in widescreen before. The DVD was always a full frame presentation, so it's good to finally see that on widescreen. It comes with some high def specials. Has the original ending, The Birds, Hitchcock's monster movie, and Tippi Hedren's screen test, as well as all the original special features. And it looks really good. The grain is nice and even throughout, bar a few shots that seem to be taken from a different reel, particularly in the early parts of the film. It has a little bit of noise here and there, especially in the sky, but for the most part it's quite a rich, detailed experience. Of course, this one had a lot more optical effects than a usual Hitchcock film, and high def hasn't done them any favours, but I still think that this is the best we've seen The Birds, and as a big fan of the film I was quite pleased. Marnie, on the other hand, second worst looking film in the set, I would say, as far as presentation. It's an interesting film. I really like the first half of it. I think it kind of loses its way in the second half. That could be because Alfred Hitchcock and Tippi Hedren fell out during the filming, and there wasn't the same enthusiasm in the second half of the film by anyone involved. Apparently she mentioned Hitchcock's weight, which he didn't take kindly to, and then he proceeded to ruin her career after that. However, the film itself looks terrible. It feels like there is snow over the whole film, like it's a kind of a staticky TV. It's not grain. There's a lot of grain, but on top of the grain it feels like there is just snow, a lot of flecks. I saw this on DVD long ago, and I definitely don't remember it looking like that. This will be sharper than the DVD, but on the whole probably doesn't look better for many eyes. Which is a real shame. It's not one of the films I would buy on its own, so it's like a nice extra to have in the set just for me, as I wouldn't have it otherwise. So here we have, coming to the end, near the end of Hitch's career, when he had a few so-so films, including 1966's Torn Curtain, which is the only film on the set I haven't seen. So I'll be watching that. I had a quick look. Like Marnie, it has a pretty snowy kind of appearance, but not quite as strong as Marnie's. But it's definitely not a good transfer. Something's gone wrong with this one and Marnie. I don't know if it's the source material or what, but there certainly wasn't any kind of remastering going on. Neither film got a lot of love. This one faring a little better than Marnie, but probably the third worst. transfer in the series. Now Topaz actually looks surprisingly good, considering it is a little loved film. It has a lot of artifacts and flecks and damage, but on the upside it does look quite strong colour palette wise, and I was fairly impressed for a film I wasn't really expecting too much from. Coming to the end here, which is 1972's Frenzy and 1976's Family Plot. Frenzy, I think, is Hitchcock's last masterpiece. He's back in England working where he started his career. It's a really fun film with a lot of really good Hitchcock thrills and dry humour. The presentation got a shitstorm of grief on the internet before its release. Apparently they had removed the original credits and changed them out for new credits which did not match the fonts, and had spelling errors, etc., typos. However, after this critical response, they went and replaced them back with the originals, which may have been a little more damaged, but the originals, and I thought they looked fine. The other huge criticism was that there was a lot of DNR used on the film. People were saying it's all very waxy, there's no grain. I don't know if that was pulled back a little bit by the time of the release, but I was really happy with the way Frenzy looked. There is a suspicious lack of grain. It was a very ugly looking DVD, but this has got pretty good detail, and it doesn't look overly waxy to me. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've actually watched quite a bit of it last night, and I thought it looked really, really good. It really popped. It was one of the dingier looking DVDs of the ones I had, and I think it has a lot of pop and colour, and probably could have used just a little bit more grain structure, but I was pretty happy with that. They're definitely in the upper third of the ones appreciation wise for me as far as the way it looks. Now Family Plot, now that we're down to the last film, you're probably guessing that this is the worst transfer in the... I saw this on DVD and I can't imagine that looked worse than this. It looks terrible. It's very murky, edge enhancement. It might be edge enhancement, or it just might be the way that the opticals look in certain scenes from the way it's transferred, but it does not look high definition at all. It looks like a bad DVD. A lot of damage to the print, a lot of worn edges. Now the film itself is a fun, it's almost like a, well, it is kind of like a Hitchcock making fun of his own genre, having a bit of a parody, having a bit of a laugh, kind of like a more toned back version of Mel Brooks's High Anxiety in some ways, but it's actually quite a fun film. As you can see in the poster, Hitchcock is winking to the camera, which is quite telling. Yeah, but it looks terrible. Now, as far as the rest of the artwork, you can see it's all on the back. Okay, with some little quotes about each film. Not the most user-friendly way. Okay, so it's a good set. And the other thing that comes with it is this little booklet, which is actually quite a nice little read. It's just a 16-page booklet with little essays and quotes about all different aspects of Hitchcock. And some nice little photos, just a nice little extra. I like when they add in booklets, you know, a lot of stuff about his collaborators and wardrobe and sound and etc. There we have it, the Hitchcock box set, and also cheaper here than anywhere to buy overseas. I often buy my Blu-rays online from overseas because they're cheaper than buying them locally, but this one, no, it ended up being under $10 per film, 10 local dollars per film, so quite a bit cheaper than buying it from either America or the UK. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.